So, you followed a tutorial, wrote your first C# script in Unity, and it doesn't work. You're stuck, wondering where you went wrong or something is happening, but it's not what you expected. Your character won't jump, the score isn't updating, the enemy isn't taking damage. Every developer has been in that exact spot. But what if there's one simple command that can instantly tell you what your script is thinking? A way to get a direct line of communication with your code so it can tell you exactly what it's doing, moment by moment. This is the first and most important debugging skill every Unity developer learns. It's the tool that turns frustration into a solution. We're about to pull back the curtain on your game's logic using the Unity console and a simple line of code, debug log. Think of this as giving your script a voice. It lets you print messages, check variable values, and confirm if parts of your code are running, all in real time. First, let's make sure we can see the messages. In Unity, go to Window, then General, and select Console. A new window will pop up. Dock it somewhere you like, maybe next to your game view. This console is our mission control. It's where all our debug messages will appear, showing us errors, warnings, and the custom messages we're about to write. Let's start with the basics. We're going to make a script whose only job is to say hello when the game starts. First, in your project window, right-click, head to Create, and choose C# script. Let's name it Debugger. Now, find any game object in your scene and drag your new debugger script onto it in the inspector. Double-click the debugger script to open it up. You'll see two methods already there, start and update. For our first message, we only want it to appear once when the game begins, so let's work inside the start method. Inside the curly braces of the start method, type this line, debug log. Save your script and hop back to Unity. The editor will compile your changes. Now, hit the play button. Take a look at your console window. You should see a message. Hello, debugger. You've just made your script talk to you. If you click on the message in the console, Unity will even highlight the script and the exact line the message came from. Printing a static message is great, but the real power of debug log comes from seeing the values of your variables as they change. Let's go back to our debugger script. Above the start method, let's create a few variables. Public int player score equals 0. Public float player health equals 100.0f. Public string player name equals hero. Now, let's use debug log to check them out. Inside the start method, add this debug log. What we're doing here is called string concatenation. We're sticking the text player's initial score is together with the value of the player score variable. Save the script and run the game. Your console will now show hello, debugger, and player's initial score is 0. This is incredibly useful. If your score isn't updating, you can put a debug log where you add points and print the score. Let's make this even better. What if you want to print multiple variables? A much cleaner way is to use string interpolation. Change your log message to look like this, debug log. Notice that $$ before the quote. This tells C# we're making a special kind of string. Now, we can pop our variables directly into the text just by wrapping them in curly braces. Save and run, and you'll see a single, clean message with all your player stats. One of the most common beginner headaches is writing code and having no idea if it's even running. Debug log is the perfect tool to find out. Let's add some code to the update method in our debugger script, which runs on every single frame. Inside update, add this. If debug log player score equals player score plus 10, debug log. Save the script and go back to Unity. Hit play. Your first messages will appear. Now, make sure you click into the game view and press the spacebar. Each time you press it, you'll see two new messages pop up. Spacebar was pressed, and score is now new score. This confirms two things. Unity is detecting your input correctly, and your score variable is updating just like it should. Unity actually gives us more than just debug log. There are two other flavors that are great for organizing your console, debug.logWarning and debug.logError. Debug.logWarning prints a message with a yellow triangle icon. It's perfect for things that aren't breaking the game, but are a bit suspicious. Debug.logError prints a message with a big red stop sign icon. This is for critical problems, like a key component that's missing. Using these different log types lets you filter your console. At the top of the console window, you can turn regular messages, warnings, and errors on or off. You can also make your log stand out with rich text. Debug. Log understands some basic HTML tags to format your text. Try this in your start method. Debug, log, run this, and you'll see a log message with bolded and colored text. And one last power user tip. You can give debug, log a second argument that points to a game object. Like this, debug log. When you do this, clicking on that log message in the console will instantly highlight that specific game object in your hierarchy. For those of you using Unity's visual scripting, don't worry, you haven't been left out. The exact same debugging ideas apply. You'll just be using nodes instead of code. To print a debug message, you just add a debug log node. Right-click on the graph and use the search to find debug log. Let's pick the standard debug log node. It has an input for the script's flow and an input for the message. Connect an event, like on start, to the debug log node's flow input. To create the message, you can add a string literal node, type your message in it. Connect its output to the message input of the debug log node. When you hit play, that message will show up in the console, just like our C# script. Printing variables is just as easy. If you have a variable in your graph, you can drag its output right into the message input of the debug log node. If you want to mix text and a variable, just use a string concat node to join them together before sending them to the log. The real magic of debugging in visual scripting is that it's all happening live. When your game is running, you can actually see the values flowing through the nodes in real time. And that's it. You now have the most fundamental skill for figuring out what's going on inside your Unity projects. Whether you're writing C# or building with nodes, printing to the console is the first step to squashing bugs and actually building the game you have in your head. It transforms that black box of code into a glass box you can see right into. If this video helped you get over some of that early frustration, it would be awesome if you hit that like button. And if you want more beginner-friendly Unity tutorials that break down the essential skills you need, make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell. Remember, debugging isn't a sign that you failed. It's the very heart of the development process. Nobody writes perfect code on the first try. The best developers aren't the ones who don't create bugs. They're the ones who are best at finding and fixing them. By mastering debug, log, you've taken a huge step toward becoming a more confident and capable developer. You're no longer guessing, you're investigating. Now you can go back to your own scripts, shine a light on what's happening, and start solving those problems. Thanks for watching, and happy coding!